following thoughts, opinions, stories, and expressions are meant for those who will appreciate them. If you don't, we hope you keep an open soul to encounter another here on 34 Questions. Peace. In 3, 2, 1. What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. I'm your host, 34, and tonight we have a very special guest. Mr. Christian Martinez is in the building. How you doing tonight, sir?
I'm doing quite well. Super excited to be here. It's on a Tuesday. We are here.
It's going up on a Tuesday, yeah, man. I'm showing my age because I'm sure some kids out there listening like, damn, that's an old ass song. But no, it's true, man. It's Tuesday. I hope your week's going well. I actually this is my second day of a new job, so I'm still trying to find a rhythm and everything. But yeah, man, it's good to see you.
Likewise, man.
For sure. And for the folks out there who are unfamiliar, me and Christian don't really know each other. It's our first time meeting. So it's always great for me to meet new people through this way, and I'm super grateful for someone who doesn't know me willing to come on here. So thank you again, Christian. And a quick rundown for all the folks out there who are unfamiliar with the flow of the show. We do some intro questions, some warm-up questions just to set the tone. And then afterwards, we'll jump into the main portion where we turn to the Wheel of Fate, or my guests choose their own numbers. And then after that, we'll finish it off with some closeout questions. Sound good to you, Christian?
Sounds good. And off the bat, I'm going to go with the Wheel of Fate.
All right.
Just throw that out there.
Thank you for the heads up. Yeah. And then, yeah, man. Well, before we jump into the warm-up and everything, I do want to check in with you. Just ask you how you've been lately. You've been doing well. You've been doing great. How you been, man?
Yeah, man. I feel like this week started strong. I'm feeling pretty good. I'm an educator, so the wave of being an educator in and now, especially with the times of COVID, have been rough. But I feel like we're finding balance.
I got you, man. Yeah, no doubt. Mad love and respect for you for being an educator. I don't think it's something I could do, but I actually work with the youth as well. I'm in the after school program side part of it. So,
get it.
It's a whole different vibe a little bit, right? From the classroom to just kicking it at the teen center and whatnot. But mad love and respect to you, man. And I will ask you some educator questions later on as well.
Win this.
All right, man. Well, jumping into the warm-up, my first question for you is, what would you like the audience to know about you?
Oh, I would love the audience to know that I come from the mud. I live in DP Stokeland. I'm a 98, and I've been living here since I was 10.
I got you. You staying here? You're not trying to get out of here?
I'm staying here.
I feel you, man. I feel you. I'm still on the fence about it sometimes, If this podcasting don't take off for me, I might have to move out.
Gotta do what you gotta do. I feel it.
You already know, man. Follow-up question is, what is a common misconception about you that you feel like you always kind of gotta either break that judgment or tell somebody? Like, what would you say for you?
I think whenever I step into an environment, I always got a name that I come from a place of love, and what does that mean is that I think just because I live in DP Stokeland, there's a lot of assumptions that come with that I'm rough around the edges. And don't get me wrong, I'm kind of but I feel like people just assume that I'm always upset and I'm gonna come with some heat, but I'm like, yo, I'm here to help heal the world, not to harm anyone. So yeah, just come from a place of love. I gotta set the tone.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a lot of folks who I feel like are truth speakers and really want be direct can be seen as rough around the edges, because I'm not that person, man. I try to please everybody. I try to make sure everything's cool and nice. But I definitely know, at least when I try to build a team, that we need people like you, who may be considered rough around the edges, but really, is just telling it how it is. We need folks like that. So, and especially teaching the youth.
For sure.
As far as working with the youth, I do like to ask. I like to ask teachers that I have on here. You ever had a mic drop moment where a student was trying to check you on something, and then you're like, "Oh, let me just lay down some knowledge." You ever had that kind of moment with your kids?
Oh, yeah, all the time. I feel like they always try to check me on how hard they are, right? and don't get me wrong, like a lot of them been going through a lot of struggles, but I feel like I always got a story to like back up my facts of like this is what I've been doing. And they love it though, like they appreciate it at the end of the road.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's cool. I think when students can see like adults or teachers, anybody older, like really be true. You know, I think they got this like, I don't know. You can tell me if I'm wrong.
Yeah.
But I feel like students, for the most part, since even as adults, we can tell when someone's being fake or trying to put up a front or trying to flex or whatever. So I think students can see that a lot in adults when they see adults interact. So it's like, you know, when you can be real with them, I think they appreciate that more. I could be wrong, but I hope all the students I've worked with, like, you know, can appreciate that and see that, and hopefully be inspired to also be real with like people that they're around, you know. But yeah.
No, I feel it, man. You got to walk the talk when you're around kids. I work with high schoolers, so they're extra vigilant around like, okay, if he really talking the walk or he's just making it up.
I hear you, man. I'm in a high school now too, and like I don't try to rush relationship building with kids. You know, I try to let it happen naturally. But I feel it. Like I've only met a couple kids here and there, but I already know they're sizing me up, trying to figure out what I'm about, like, and all that stuff. So we'll see how it goes, man. It's only day 2. All right, man. My second question for you in the warm up is, what could we do in your honor? So if I was gonna tell myself today I'm gonna do something in honor of Christian, what could I do to, you know, promote your energy, you know, make sure your energy is still around?
Yeah, man, I appreciate that question a lot. I think a mantra that I've been holding on for the past, I want to say 6 years or so, because I have my own podcast and my own movement over here. It's talking about elevating community, right? There's a lot of gatekeepers out there, you know, in our communities, and something that you would do in my honor or your listeners can do in them. It's like, yo, elevating community. We are all here for a mission, and let's just ride together.
No doubt. You know, you ever heard of that saying? I saw this in an email, you know, one of those staff emails that's sent to everybody. But what it said was that we're all just walking each other home, and like
straight up.
Yeah. And that hit me. That hit me different, man. I was like, damn. Like,
yeah, it's
well,
facts.
I hear it. As far as your passion for community, where did that come from? Was that something you were born with, or something you kind of like had to grow into?
Man, it's something I had to really grow into. Like I said at the beginning, I came here to the U.S. when I was 10. I came as an undocumented child, and I became documented when I turned 25. And throughout that period, I was just lost. One of the things I tell my kids, I was like, yo, I was lost since I was 10. I'm 32 now. And just when I was 30, I found myself again, because I was so lost. I'm like, where am I going with life? What does success mean? Am I going the right path? So all those things just kind of aligned for me. And I feel like now I find a community because that's what I wanted since I was young.
Got you. Where did you find your community, man? I feel like that's what people struggle with. They don't know where they belong. So how did you find your place?
The number one thing to find your place is to know who you are, like know where you come from. I went down this like rabbit hole, like trying to identify myself with like a subgroup, or like I live in Deep East Oakland, so I navigate, that's where I rep that, but it's like, no, I gotta rep the whole me. So I come from Michoacan, Mexico, and I went down there as soon as I became documented to kind of learn more about my history. And I come from this a small indigenous community, the Purepecha indigenous community, and I feel like I learned my history, came back to the US, and I'm like, yo, this is my community. I have friends since I was 10, the same friends that I had, and we just been building, especially with this podcast and this platform called Noche Galactica, where everybody is a poet, whoever comes on board.
That's sick, man. Let me ask you that about your podcast real quick. How long you been doing it for? That's the first one.
Yeah, I've been doing it since 2018. And you know, it's been all about talking under the stars and having really deep conversations about life, and really, again, going back to the meaning of like, we all elevate in community. We are all stars, and once we come, you know, we all shine together. It's like a brighter light. So making sure that we see each other as a resource and as a plug, and we are here not to like gatekeep, but to elevate.
I got you. And then let's move on to that last question in the warm up. On a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you know yourself?
That's a good one. I think it's as a solid 8, like a solid 8. I think I'm up there. If you had asked me that probably like 4 years ago, I'd probably be like, man, I like a 3. I like a 3. But I went through this like really big awakening, and I'm really happy to say like I'm an 8. Still some work to do though.
No doubt, no doubt. We all got work to do, man.
Yeah.
And a follow up to that is, what would you say is your favorite thing about your personality?
I feel like the energy that I bring to myself, and also the energy that I bring to others. Like when people to be around, I want them to be felt like they are heard, that they are understood, and also they're gonna be checked, and we're here to grow together, and vice versa. They can check me, but I think the energy that I bring to the room is beautiful.
I feel you, man. I think for me, that's something that I'm still learning to embrace. It took me a long time to figure out, what made me unique or different, or what energy I brought. And now that it's coming to light a little more, it's like, I'll be real with you, man. I guess I'm a little afraid, of like what that's gonna mean, or where that's gonna take me. But at this point, I turned 30 recently, 31 now. But yeah, it's like, all right, well, you can't run away from who you are anymore. You're either gonna like run with it, or you're just gonna stop yourself. And and hopefully it doesn't take the kids that we work with, until they're 30. But it seems like a pattern. I don't know if most you and your friends, or me and my homies, we talk about all the time, like, bro, their 30s just feel different. It hits different. Yeah,
it's a whole different frequency. We talk about this like, yo, when we were in our mid 20s, late 20s, we start feeling some type of way, and then 30s hit, and we're just like, oh, I feel more centered, more ground on like the things I like and don't like. I like it here.
I do too, man. I'm kind of curious how 40 is gonna feel.
Yeah.
I hope it ain't like more pressure, because I felt like there was pressure right before 30 happened. But nah, I got you, man. Let's jump into the wheel real quick.
Hey, the wheel.
All right, so this is a little different. Can you see it on your screen?
Yeah, I can see it.
All right, I'm gonna give it a spin, and if you see the points on the star, like all the points. So we're gonna spin it one time, and we'll see where all those points land, and those are gonna be your numbers for the show. All right.
All right.
Here we go. I gotta write this down too, so I don't forget.
That's
so
good.
Give me a second. Good. All right, let's do it. Looks like you got 4. I want to say 33. It's a little bit not at 34. 29, 25, 21, 16, and 16, 12, and 8. All right. So we might not get through all these numbers, but this is how it's going to guide our conversation. Starting with number 4, easy, medium, or hard.
All right. I get to decide which one, I guess.
Easy, medium, or hard. Yeah, man.
Let's go with easy. Let's start easy.
All right. 4, easy. If you're going to get a phrase, quote, or symbol tattooed, what would you get?
What would I get? What would I get? I honestly would get like elevating community. Like that would be the phrase that I go to. I'm so grounded on that.
I mean, you need that reminder every day, right? Like
yeah. I guess the other one, I already had it tatted up. The one I was thinking about is the clothing brand that I have, Swim Good. And that's tatted up with the meaning of it. Yeah.
Swim Good, dude. Like we got a lot of similarities right now. We work with youth. We both got podcasts, and I had a brand that I kind of put on the back burner because it takes a lot. I don't know if it's taking a lot of energy from you, but Swim Good. Tell me a little more about that. What inspired that?
Yeah, so I was in 2019. I was in Tokyo, Japan, and I always been like into fashion, and I always wanted to start a brand. And I was going through a heartbreak, and I was just like, man, listening to Frank Ocean, Swim Good, talking about love. And I was like, I got to put a different spin to this. So I was like, Swim Good. No matter where you at in this ocean called life, you're going to be okay if you just swim good. So it's a metaphor just to like keep going in life. And you just gotta float sometimes and make it happen, but don't drown, because once you do that, it's hard. Life is super hard. So you just gotta swim good.
I hear you, man. I hear you. You know what's interesting about brands, man? Like, I don't know if you ever felt this way, but the reason why I wanted to make my own clothing or like rep my own brand is that I felt like everything was just an advertisement for another thing, you know, like, oh, of course you're wearing Nike, of course you're wearing, not hating on it because they got clean designs, but you know, if you're gonna be wearing something and like, you know, advertising something, why not be your own thing, right?
Yes.
So
I feel that.
it empowers you a little bit to be able to say like, nah, this is my design or this is my shit, and like I don't feel bad maybe like, because you know there are some not so great things about every brand. We don't know all the skeletons in the closet, but you know we would feel really super guilty if something came out and we're like, damn man, like I thought I believed in it, but you know you got to believe in yourself. So that I try to set that up for kids, like, you know, to whatever message they want to like spread or whatever they want to be about. Right, you got starting a brand has it been hard for you? Because
No, I think at the beginning it was super hard because I wanted to be something different. Where I live at, a lot of people start their own brands and not to knock on them, but it's around the city, like Oakland and the Tree, and you know that's great and amazing. We can be proud of all that, but I was like, I need something to change the narrative. I need something that when someone puts it on, feels motivated to be like, yo, I swim good, and it becomes part of this like movement. So at the beginning, like no one really believed other than my homies. But now like I launched my website, people are buying it. I see people who I don't know wearing the swim good here in Oakland. And it just feels good just to know that, yo, they connect with the meaning of swimming good, you know?
yeah, man, that's sick. How about have you been able to get any like products and stuff out in the motherland, you know, and back in the hometown?
Yeah, I sent some to Mexico. I recently sent some to Canada. I also created like a community back in Tokyo, and I sent some over there. It just been super super fun just to start it and see people like, you know, connect with this. Movement. Yeah.
No, I got you. Like, have you been? And this may be too personal, but you've been able to build a team around it, because that's what I struggled with, man. Like I was trying to do everything solo with my brand, and I'm not a businessman, and I'm not good with accounting or like, you know, keeping track of my taxes and all that shit. So it bit me in the ass, and that's what kind of like maybe I should cool off because I'm not ready. Like for me, I gotta do some more growing before I really take this on. But yeah, for you got a team with you?
Honestly, just my two like best friends. Recently, just like two weekends ago, we were in Complex Con just because we wanted to connect with people and really take it to the next level. Because you know you got to dream it and then manifest it, and then like you're gonna be there. So just being out there repping swim good, people asking questions like, "What is this?" With my homegirl, like it was just dope. But as far as like having a team, I do everything in-house. Like I print everything, orders, just like here, and I have a full-time job. I get home and it's another full-time job, but I feel like that's part of the grind, like not giving up. But I feel you on this team though, like eventually I want to hire some interns or something to like run it, you know, and I'm just designing different stuff.
I hear you, man. And the two full-time jobs feeling, it can be hectic, but I feel like it's fulfilling for you. Like you sound like you're pretty fulfilled. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think it keeps my mind like super busy. Especially like growing up, I had not the best, you know, upgrowing. Like I got shot out here. My dad passed away when I was young. I dropped out of high school 3 times. So now knowing that, you know, I'm a co-founder of the high school that I work for. And that started 5 years ago. Yeah.
Oh shit, bro. Okay.
Yeah. And then just having like the podcast, a magazine, and then the clothing brand is just like, okay, I'm doing things not for myself, but for my nephews and for the brown boys out here in the hood to know that no matter where you come from, like you still can make things happen, you know?
You could start your own school if you hate school. Well, man, no, I gotta dig a little deeper on that one.
Yeah, go for it.
How? This is my first question. But no. Okay. Well, yeah. Was the process hard, or was it something a lot maybe easier than you thought it would be? Like, yeah, run that down.
Yeah, I'll run it through you. So I started working in education as soon as I became documented. And the reason why is because, you know, growing up, my mom and my dad, all they did here in the U.S. was janitor or maintenance. So as soon as I got an office job, it was like, oh, I made it. You know, like I come from deep. I'm working office job. I didn't go to college. I'm good. But as I started working in education, I started to see hella potholes of like, oh, why don't we educate the brown and black kids differently though? Like we have a lot of white people coming from different areas who don't belong or don't really live in this city, teaching black and brown kids, and they can connect. And now there's hella behavior issues. So I was like, this doesn't align. So I went through that sequence of events for like, so I was like 27. Like 27, I was ready to leave education. I was just like, as a teacher aide, like back and forth, here and there. I was the band-aid, you know. I was definitely tokenized by my image and the way I look and the way I connected with kids' stories. Like, oh, he would fix it because he can connect to the kids. And I just got tired of that. I just got tired of that. So I told my organization, yo, I'm leaving. I'm gonna just go find a job somewhere else. I'm pretty talented. So I was like, I'm leaving. And then I get a connection of this lady, this team that was gonna start high school in Oakland. But they needed like the missing piece, like someone who really understands the community here in the Fruitvale. And I was like, I want to hear y'all out because I'm not trying to get tokenized. So they talked to me. The pitch is honestly what my life has been about. Like, just it's not just a high school. You take kids outside the school gates to learn about different environments they want to be in. If you want to be a shoe designer, we connected with Nike. If you want to be a YouTuber, we go to YouTube, and you get to learn and experience the careers firsthand. You know, it's like a project-based learning environment. So I was like, I'm down with that because success can look different, you know, for everyone else. And I just want people to have options and understand that it's a big world out there. So the process was super difficult. The anti-charter climate here in Oakland is hard. So we had to go to the state to get it approved. And we got it approved. And this year will be our first year graduating seniors.
Congratulations, man. That sounds really fucking dope. And where I'm at right now, the reason, so I've had 17 jobs, bounced around a ton. And I was at this particular high school I was at 4 years ago, and I had left for my own reasons. And then I decided to come back. What excites me about the position now is that I feel like, and maybe it's different for your school because it's new and you guys were able to navigate the quarantine a little different, but I feel like a lot of public schools, a lot of like, you know, district schools are going through this hard reset of like, these kids have changed, or like the kids from 8th grade going to 9th grade and missing the year, it's changed the way they see education. And like, I don't need to be in class, or I don't need to get these assignments. I need to do something I'm passionate about at all times though, right? Like, it's like, why am I spending 7-8 hours here when I could be working on something that I'm passionate about? Maybe they don't know yet what they're passionate about, but that energy of like, get me out of here, give me something that I want to love to do, you know? So yeah, me as an after school program guy, I'm like, I know state schools and, you know, they got these, I guess, standards that they have to show kids can reach and all that. But I really want to revamp the after school program to kind of like be that space of like, okay, you hate school, but at least come so you could come to these programs where like, hopefully this 1 hour and a half of like giving you something that you really want to do is going to be good enough to hold you over throughout the whole school day. So yeah, man, I don't know if this is the universe telling me or giving me an opportunity to connect with you, but I will tap in with you afterwards just to ask you like if you could leave me an email that I can reach out to, you know, to build out my programs, and I'd be forever grateful. And I think the kids are definitely going to benefit from it, man.
Yeah, no, I'm here for that, and I believe in the universe alignment, and anything you need, I'm down to ride. One thing I do tell you though is like that energy that you're feeling from the kids is real. And for me, that's something that has resonated since I was in high school. Like I said, I dropped out of high school 3 times, not because I wasn't ready, but the environment wasn't ready for everything that was thrown at me. And I feel like to this day, like I haven't graduated any type of college or university. And I'd say that with pride because I'm challenging the systems that haven't worked for me. And I'm here to just like change the narrative around those things.
Dude, I hear you, man. And like I've been thinking about whether or not I want to pursue, you know, my master's or, you know, anything higher. But I do feel that whole like, why am I giving more money to like do I like internally? I'm like, do I need, you know, the affirmation from other people, from accredited, you know, what's it called, establishment, to tell me I'm good enough, or do I just do it and like prove it to myself, prove it to other people? So yeah, man, I think it's weird because, like, you know, I'm glad I'm not a teacher because I don't have to tell kids college is the way, like I was told. But yeah, so yeah, I really just want to open the world up to them and be like, what you see in right now is, I feel like they can see a lot because it's all on, you know, social media, on their phone and stuff. But do you think the youth, as much as they see, are understanding what they're capable of? Do you think they're feeling more overwhelmed or more empowered at this point?
Yeah, I think from what I see of my students and just my surroundings, I feel like they're a little bit overwhelmed. I feel like they know that with COVID, especially those students who have suffered throughout this period, losses and maybe like financial burdens, that now they feel like, yo, I got to get out there and make some money. Like that's the pressure that I feel from them. And I think me as an educator, like, I'm not here to fix students. I'm here to help you on your journey. And let's say you want to make money, but you also need this education, right? Let's talk about that and create a plan that's going to be sustainable. But a lot of times we just throw like big words to them and they get super overwhelmed without knowing what's like the blueprint. Like I use my story as the blueprint of like, you want to get there? Designer, blah, podcast, blah. You want to be an educator, blah. I do music too, blah. This is how you do it. You want to stock market? This is what I do, blah. You know, I feel like you got to show that to the kids and they can learn, because a lot of times they won't get it at home.
I got you. And honestly, that's one thing I think I underestimate is, you know, we only see them for like, you know, a part of the day when they go to some place, you know, every day and they grow up with it, or, you know, and I don't like to judge, but I do believe everybody is going through their own struggles. So yeah, man, sometimes, like, I know, especially with kids, they might not tell you everything, but you can kind of see it. You can see it, you could feel it. And it just sucks when you're trying to reach out and they're like, nah, I don't need that. I don't want that. You know, like, it's like, man, I just want to help you, man. But yeah, hopefully they warm up to it by the time they're seniors too. Like they start realizing, oh, this person's been here for 4 years of my life. I think they do care, you know?
Yeah.
But I got you, man. And so you got the school.
Yeah.
And is there plans? I mean, I guess it's too early after 4 years, but plans for expansion, or just you guys just staying rooted in Oakland right now?
Yeah, I think we're gonna be staying rooted in Oakland, just because the idea of the high school it's a little bit different. You know, like the whole project-based learning, taking kids out on field trips that are very like learning opportunities for them. Like it takes a lot of work and people who are down to ride. So I feel like it might need a little more, maybe like 2 more years to be in full effect, because the COVID situation kind of put us back down. But I think it's just in the Fruitvale. I'm getting ready to start a different type of program though, that really it's aimed to talk about this idea of success, right? Like, is it college? Is it career? But at the bottom is like financial stability. And let's talk about that.
Ooh. You need to talk to me about that, bro. I am you know, I'm part of that millennial generation, paycheck to paycheck, man. And, you know, trying to, especially when you hit 30, it's like, shit, man, like, where my savings at? Where my savings at? But, yeah, man, I think that's, and I see a lot of y'all folks out there. Like, I see this wave of trying to teach the youth, like, don't fuck your money up. Like, there's enough people trying to take that shit away from you. So you kind of got to hold on to it and do it smart. You know, don't just put it under your bed, you know. Make sure it's making money for you and all that shit, man. So, I mean, I hope so. I was talking to some kids about, like, you know, crypto and stocks the other day. And, like, you know, I always had to, like, tell them, like, don't take my word for gospel, because, like, it's not like I'm rich or nothing. Like, but, yeah, if more folks can give them that information, because I can't imagine what it'd be like if I was in high school and I was able to, like, just put something down on something. And then 10 years later, it's like, oh, it took care of me. Like, yeah. So, and that's great, man. Like, and I feel like even after this program, you're gonna continue on and do even more. So it's crazy. It's gonna be crazy to see you grow, man. And I'm glad that I've been able to touch base with you at this point, because I feel like, you know, down the line you could come back on here and tell me what's going on after.
I would love to, man. I appreciate it.
No doubt. Let's hit up another number real quick.
Yeah, let's do it.
We're going to number 33.
All
Easy,
right.
medium, or hard?
Let's go with hard.
All right. Ooh, go. 33 hard is going to be, if you could get rid of any emotion, which one would you get rid of?
Any emotion? Ah, that was tough. I
Go
feel
take your
like
time. Yeah.
maybe the emotion of like feeling like there's an urgency of something, right? Maybe feeling anxious, feeling like I need to do something, right? That's the way I would describe that emotion. And the reason why is because I think it stops your peace of mind. You know, like it just stops from you being at a place of making decisions from this place of like, all right, peace of mind, I'm good. And a lot of times when we grow up in survival mode and we have that emotion, we don't make decisions from this place of peace of mind. And we are always rushing things that sometimes, slows down your growth and puts you in situations where you are, endangering yourself or endangering others. So I feel like that would be the emotion I would kind of take away.
And yeah, no, I got you. Anxiousness, definitely one of my biggest issues, I think. But yeah, my first dream was to be a rapper, right? So coming out with projects, coming out the music video here and there, I always was yearning for that viral blow up, like, oh, this is gonna be the song that's gonna turn my life around and stuff. And I never got it, but like it made me realize that anxiety that I had, right? Like it was just like I was feeling anxious, like, oh, I'm not there yet. I need to be making another song, even though, if you force that shit, sometimes the music's not gonna sound good. So yeah, like that. It took me some time to realize, and then I tried the clothing brand right after my rap career, and even that, I was like, I'm hoping this is gonna change my life around. And then, but now, I feel like, I think getting older too, becoming 30, you see that the value in like spending a long time on something, not expecting things to happen so quickly. And for me, I think it's helped, especially even creating this podcast. For me, I don't know if for you, if you see the number or they like YouTube throws the numbers at you, Instagram throws the numbers at you. I try not to look at those numbers at all. But yeah, it's definitely tough to feel like, am I going too fast or am I not going? Am I going too slow?
Yeah.
And so like with just tying back to kids and working with the youth, they're so used to things blowing up so fast or so used to things going viral. And then like it's crazy though, like when I try to look into social media and stuff, they're always saying like you really only have like an hour for you to blow up, because in the next hour something else is gonna blow up. And it's just like, I don't want to chase that. Like, and I don't want to. I wanted to remind the kids to not chase that either. But I feel like that's where they're at right now in their head, because they see that's the get rich quick scheme, right? Of this day and age, is to sell yourself, in any way.
I think on that same note, also applying it to like dating, like I've been talking a lot about what is love. That was like the second like big season of the podcast, like what is love, asking a bunch of people what is love to you, because there's different definitions of it. And then when he mentioned like there's only an hour, I also encountered that with just dating, like there's an hour, there's something else popping off, and I was like, damn, this is crazy how the world moves so fast around just the span of attention that a person would have towards something, and it just moves so fast. So in the 30s, I realized to just take my time and value who I am and those around me who show me genuine love. And to the numbers, man, they're gonna take off. Like when I started my podcast, there was only like 3 people listening, and then eventually a year later, 100 people, more people started listening, and it just makes you feel like there's people out there waiting for you to drop something new, and that's love.
Oh, no doubt. And that's the thing, man. Like, and I'm sorry, I haven't checked out your podcast yet, but it sounds dope as fuck. I'm gonna have to check it out. And like, there's people who want to hear these things, right? And like, they just don't know where to go. I don't know. You said you kind of like interview poets and stuff. And like, yeah, for me, I try to focus on just like everyday like people, or it doesn't matter what profession or what you're doing, but like I do think that, I don't know, man, like what I'm surprised about is that I get folks from India listening, and I just can't imagine they're like, let me hear what this American's talking
Yeah.
about, or like where their heads
Yeah.
at. It's just like, damn, and that's cool. That's cool. I wish I could interview some Indian folks so they can,
Yeah.
give that same reflection over here. But yeah, man, like, you ever heard about like, if you read books that were written in like the 1600s, 1700s, or whatever, you have somebody writing about like how some dude was trying to holler at his wife, and he's like, y'all didn't like that shit. It's like,
Yeah.
that's so relatable to like at any point of time and anywhere. Like, you don't want that shit happening. So yeah, man, just trying to expand that. I wish I could find those texts though, so I could show kids like, yo, man, the language is a little different, but they talking about the same issues that we feeling right now.
It's in there. It's in there. Even now, like, I listened to the first podcast that I did, and I was like, wow, my mindset was somewhere else. And it's beautiful just to see the growth of myself and the guests that were on the podcast, of that learning experience of who you are now.
Gotcha. I normally save this set for the end, but tell the folks out there, where can they find your podcast, man? Or podcast, Golden Brand,
the whole
Sports
thing.
School. Yeah.
Well, you can find me on Instagram, Noche Galactica, and you can find the podcast on iTunes and SoundCloud. That's where we add. And the Swim Good clothing brand is called Swim Good Club, because we're a club trying to swim good out here.
You said swimgood.gov?
That club, CLUB, yeah.
Okay, .club. I got you. I was like, .gov. Like, damn. It's on your own government organization. Before we move on to the next number, man, I wanted to ask you about, if you don't mind, like being growing up undocumented, right?
Yep.
What was a common misconception, or what's something that people would judge about your experience that you would have to kind of like, reveal to them the truth, or like what was real?
I think, since I don't think I have an accent, so I arrived when I was 10. So what I heard in education is that if you arrive after the age of 14, you keep the accent. So since I arrived before that, I'm 10, there's no accent, so I'm able to like be super like clear, super ebonics, very Oakland. So when people would kind of say, wait, one, you sound like you are from the hood, were you born here? So my language, and then when I switch it to Spanish, they'd be like, oh, you are really a native to Mexico. And I have to like check them, like, yeah, that's my home, and I'm just here because I got here at a really young age. But sometimes people wouldn't understand that, because they were like, what, your English is so perfect. I was like, there's more to just one language. Like, there's a whole story behind this. So always kind of like checking it about like my language and my experience, just because I don't have the accent.
I gotcha. Yeah, man. I mean, I didn't live that life, and I think like the folks that I grew up with, maybe at the time it wasn't a thing to like tell everybody like, yo, this is my status.
Bro.
But yeah, man, that's definitely interesting. I'm sure we could do a whole another podcast about your experience. Unfortunately, we would run out of time. But let's jump to another number real quick.
I'm down.
You got number 29. Easy, medium, or hard?
Let's go hard.
29 hard. Here we go. So when was the last time you forgave yourself?
Whew. Last time I forget myself,
I mean, like I said, you feel free to pass, man. If
we here.
Right.
I think the last time was in 2019, at the beginning of it. I got married when I was 25. I have lived like 3 full lives. I was married when I was 25, and then towards the end of 29, I got divorced. And it wasn't the best ending of a relationship. There was a lot of drama and loose ends, but I think at the beginning I tried to really like say it wasn't me, like, oh, it wasn't me, and it was this toxic masculinity of like, it wasn't me, it was not my fault. But I had to really dig deep and like isolate myself for a while and get to read a lot about like toxic masculinity and unpack those layers, where I was like, yo, it was you, and you gotta go through this ring of fire. And learning from the work of Bell Hooks. She's a feminist writer. She's a poet, and she talks about like, you know, toxic masculinity, and like a lot of folks of color never really get to learn from that because like my dad passed away when I was really young, so I never really had a role model to look up for. So going through that whole process, and then, you know, towards the end, just saying, you know what, I forgive myself for what I did because I didn't know better, but I cannot make that same mistake.
Got you. Yeah, man. Toxic masculinity is something that I feel like even I don't know I'm doing it. You know, it's just like, damn, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's with me and my partner. She luckily she hasn't like brought that stuff up to me like that I've been doing it, but I do keep it in the back of my head sometimes, especially working with kids and like, you know, trying to be good role models to them. You know, kind of like opening yourself up to ridicule, allowing yourself to feel things, and not just like say. And I think that's something I still struggle with. You know, because I always try to tell myself, oh, it's cool, like it's all good, like that's all we ever say. But yeah,
you gotta feel it, putting out the plug out there. The Will to Change by Bell Hooks. That's a beautiful book. That is like an easy read, but also really deep, and it talks about like toxic masculinity, how it's ingrained in us since the day we were born.
You think like how much of toxic masculinity is like nature versus nurture? You know, like I feel like there's some instinctual stuff or maybe some stuff in our DNA that, you know, I guess make dudes the way they are. But yeah, I guess it's gonna take opening our minds up to the will to change, right? That's what it's called. Yeah.
That's the one that's the book. That's what it's called. And it really touches on that, right? Of like nature versus also like environment, like growing up in an environment, you gotta show us a certain way. But we are all, I feel like for me, it's been like a learning curve since I was like late 20s to like now of like, I had to show a certain way for other people, but how am I showing to myself and to my inner child? You know, like, is that the way I should be showing to the world? And at times it's hard, just like you name it. Like people are going to judge you. Oh, you're too soft, or, you know, this is not how you navigate life. But I'm like, that makes me happy. And it makes me feel like people feel safe around me. And that's the way I want to project to the world.
I gotcha. I didn't think about it that way, man. Like feeling safe around others, right? Yeah, that's a trip.
Yeah.
Let's go ahead and move on to the next one, which is 25.
Let's go.
25, easy, medium, or hard?
Let's go medium.
All right, 24 medium or 25 medium is what does it mean to have a healthy perspective?
Oh, I think going diving into like education and just like working with different bodies of students and families, like understanding that there's more than just your own perspective, right? And it's hard sometimes, like it tests your ego, it tests everything, your values, like who you are, but always understanding that, you know, your perspective is what it is, but you are here to like impact the bigger world, make a huge impact amongst like young lives and families. So also hearing them out, you know, like, so I feel like having a healthy perspective is like listening to understand, and also speaking from a place of respect and love, not aiming to like harm anybody, you know, because sometimes I feel like we get on this like high horse of like, I'm gonna just say something to hurt you because that wasn't cool. And there's a lot of that happening in the world versus saying, you know what, I'm gonna say things to one, prove you maybe wrong, but also, hey, I come from a place of love. We don't have to disagree or agree. I'm just saying and explaining my perspective. But hearing to listen, that's something that I always aim for.
No, I got you. It made me think about like, you know, when a kid feels disrespected and they want to just like pop off right away. And it's all like, yo, this person did this thing to me. And then, and I'm just like trying to, the one time I've been able to diffuse a situation like that was stepping into the space of where the fight was going to happen. And like kind of I got in between the kids and I was just like, yo, I'm here with you guys. You know, you're not alone. Like everybody's here watching. Cause I feel like in that moment, they're just like, this is all that fucking matters is me whooping this person's ass. Like, and showing something. So, you know, like I've been trying, or that's that's been my go-to approach, is kind of just like telling them like, you're not alone. Like if you could hear my voice, then you know that I'm here with you. And like it's worked out as far as like kids are just like, they're breathing hella hard, looking at each other, but they end up, moving on.
Yeah.
I also try to remind kids time and place. Like, okay, you really got beef. I guess the perfect time and place would be go to a ring, put some gloves on, because I feel like that whole, like, if boxing wasn't so bad for our heads,
Yeah.
but I think that could be a good alternative for a lot of youth, especially with aggression. And you know how it is, man. Like sometimes you get in fights with other folks and you become good friends with them because like you understand you on that same level, or you got that same approach. You can connect. But man.
Yeah, no, I feel you in that diffuse situation. I use a similar strategy where I see the students and I was like, yo, I'm here, I love you, and I ride with you no matter what's gonna happen, but I'm here with you. And when you say the word I love you, and you really feel it and you really name it to them, they get shy, they get like, they don't know how to act because it's something it hasn't been named for a lot of them in the past. So when they're in the high stake, it kind of brings the situation down a lot.
That's interesting. Did not think about saying I love you. And yeah, I think kids will definitely get like, they'll be shocked and they'll be like, wait, what?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to steal that one from you, man.
For sure.
I'm gonna borrow it. I won't steal it.
Yeah. Go for it.
I gotcha. Just a heads up, we have about 10-15 minutes left in the podcast. Want to thank you again. I've been having a great time. I hope you have been too.
Likewise.
Let's go get it with number 21. Easy, medium, or hard?
Let's go hard.
All right. Hard 21 is, when's the last time you felt left out?
Last time I felt left out. Oof. I can't think about the last time.
Ooh, okay, all right. Because it don't matter. It don't matter.
It don't matter. I try to think like in relationship wise with friends, but I feel like they always come through. Like my homies come through in situations. I'm here to create change, and like it doesn't matter if you left me out. I'm gonna create my own lane.
I hear you, bro. You sure that's not the toxic masculinity? It's all good. I'm good with it.
Yeah.
It happens sometimes, man. Yeah. No, I hear you.
It comes out. Yeah.
I feel that, man. I feel that because, I'm not gonna lie. It's not like I never felt left out, but whenever I do, it's like, well, let me just do some shit on my own. Let me do something that I find fun. It's really like, I try not to think about it, right? Like there's this thing about overthinking, which is a whole nother thing. I think I do it too, but yeah, it's like move on, or be able to just take the next steps forward. Stop being anxious, and look at the long run. It's definitely interesting. But all right, man. Like I feel you. Well, let me switch directions a little bit. Earlier you had talked about success.
Yeah.
So how do you define success?
Yeah, I think now as an adult is being in the place of happiness, like regardless of what you do. And also defining happiness is hard sometimes, but I think finding a place of like peace of mind is like super key to me. Like peace of mind, having time to like meditate in the mornings, having time to like have meaningful conversations with folks that you gain something out of it and I gain something out of it. And I think for me that's success. Now society doesn't define success the same way I do, but I think I'm always conscious that I'm changing the narrative. Sometimes I think I'm an anomaly, right? Like I'm just a different motherfucker out here, just trying to create a different lane. But success, also like where you come from. Like I said, I come from like the mud. Like I got shot when I was 14, and then my dad passed away. Hella trauma. I had to go to therapy. I still go to therapy. And defining success is just kind of like, it's my own narrative. It looks different for you. It's different for my neighbor. So you just got to stay on your lane and follow what makes you happy and trust that energy.
Yeah, I got you, man. And on the flip side of that, what would you say is your definition of failure?
Failure is I think the definition for me has been like is a learning lesson. When there's a failure, you learn not to do it again, like I said earlier, and also like bounce back. And I feel like throughout my lifetime, and maybe you have experienced this as well, is like you feel that failure, like, oh damn, it hit. Now I'm back even lower than I was before. What do I need to do? And I always think about this term. It's like it's not how low you go; it's about the bounce back. So the failures are always going to be there in life, and you got to learn to like adapt to them, and then just catapult yourself to like a higher level. And honestly, it has been working so far for me.
Sure, man, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. I like my failures and stuff. For me, it's the bounce back. I like. It's not. I know it's not true for everybody, and I think it's just me justifying my lifestyle and the way I've lived. But all the times I failed, I feel like I've just been pulling back like a slingshot, pulling, and hopefully, if you get that courage to let go, that's when you kind of like, go past the stars and stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, like sometimes that failure is gonna be that motivation or that push, or the spring that you jump off of to get your head start. So yeah, and it sucks because sometimes you don't know which failure is gonna be the one. You might think, oh, I failed already. Like, nah, you gotta fail some more. Yeah. I got you. And are you a Star Wars fan at all? This next one's more Star Wars-ish. But
Yeah, you know what? I think early 20s I was. Man, it's like you can throw me in.
Well, it's what Yoda says. There's no try, just do.
Just do.
Are you in agreement with that? That's something you agree with?
I agree. Yeah.
Okay, for sure, man. No, because for me, I feel like I'm more in the camp of like, nah, I'm just trying, man. Like, people tell me all the time, and this is where my self-confidence or, things I'm trying to build up for myself comes in. But, I tell myself, I'm not doing a podcast yet. I'm just trying to do it, and hopefully one day it's going to be something I do. But, like people who have been supportive have always been like, nah, man, look, you're doing it. You're doing it right now. But yeah, for me, it's just been like, nah, man, it still don't feel that way. I still feel like I'm just trying. But I just wanted to see where your perspective was on that.
No, man. I tell you this: if you don't make it real yourself, like no one else is gonna make it real for you, And you got to run with that. Like it's a real thing, and treat it like it's like what it is. It's a real thing. Period.
That's that. Trying to stay focused on that, man. Yeah. Not trying to let my anxieties tell me that I'm not doing it, which is always a struggle. But I appreciate the words, man.
For sure.
All right. Well, we made it to the final portion where we got some closeout questions. But before we do that, there's this exercise I'd like to do with you. It's called the 34th mantra. It's just you talking to you. And hopefully you get to watch this later down in the road. But you see the phrase, I am, I can, I will at the bottom. I just want you to fill in those blanks. I am blank, I can blank, I will blank. How would you fill that in for yourself?
Got you. Let me roll it. I am a beautiful human being. I can do anything I put my mind to, and I will continue to strive and vibrate high at a different frequency.
Dope, man. Dope. And hopefully one day when you need that reminder for yourself, you could turn to that clip and just be like, yo, man, it was me telling me.
I appreciate that.
No worries, man. I think, like, I'm glad you brought that energy to it, right? Because I feel like for some folks, it's very like intrusive almost, right? Like I turn the mirror to you and be like, all right, talk to yourself, So thank you for rolling with it. I'm still trying to find a good way to like get everybody comfortable with doing something like that. But all right, man. Final stretch. First thing in the final stretch is I will ask you a question from my previous guest.
Okay.
Shout out to Justin. And he did a little what's it called? Shameless plug right now, because
okay.
I don't know if you ever heard of drip bib. Bib. It's this streetwear style bib for adults. For if you eat if you like eating messy, but you care about your fit, I think it's a good way to make sure everything clean.
Okay, I'll check them out.
But if you were, his question was, if you were to wear a bib, when would you feel like you needed one? You know, he did a little focus group question.
Okay, I see you. I think for me it would be like eating ice cream. I always find myself like, eating ice cream or like a gelato, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it dropped either on my shirt or like my pants or my shoes, and I was like, man, I just need to eat like more clothes but have a bib. So
No, I got you, man. I can definitely see ice cream being messy for me too. And so it gets on your fingers and you don't even know, and you wipe your hands on something. Yeah, it's not great. So anybody else have trouble eating with ice cream, go ahead, check out Drip Bib.
Drip Bib.
Yeah, man. And then my second to last question is, what would you like to ask the next guest that comes on to 34 Questions?
Yeah, I think the question I would like to ask them is, how do you elevate others?
Ooh, I got you. How do you elevate others? All right. I have a really good friend coming after you, and I'm super curious how he's going to answer this question. So thank you for that.
For sure.
And then my very last question for you, man, the question that ties everything together is, you got your descendants watching this video. What would you like to tell them?
Yeah, I would like to tell them that life was hard, just growing up and navigating the environment and situations, but I made it.
Made him, and you're making it. You're making more. You're making more, man. That's like I said in the beginning, man. Mad respect to you, and I feel like the respect just kept getting bigger as we conversed even more. Any last things you'd like to add before we head out of here?
No, yeah, I just appreciate, man, the environment. Again, I'm big on like the space and how the person that's leading the podcast makes you feel, and you just did an amazing job. And I know holding the podcast as a whole sometimes it's hard because you're navigating the situation, and you did amazing. Thank you for this time.
Yo, man, I appreciate it. It is a little challenging sometimes because like my mind is super deep into what you're saying, and I'm like, oh shit, I gotta like keep it moving. And I'm not perfect. I haven't been doing this for that long, but I hope to get better as I go along. And yeah, man, I think it works well when I have guests who have great energy. It seemed like you really wanted to be here, and that means a lot to me because that makes me feel more comfortable. It makes me feel like, all right, well, let's get this rolling, and we will roll together.
Yeah,
that's what it is, man. So I'd like to thank you again for stopping by. I want to thank all the folks out there. If you're checking this out on Spotify, YouTube, or Apple Podcasts, much love to you as well. Remember to reach out, reach forward. As always, much love, and we'll catch you guys next time on 34 Questions. Peace.
Have a good one, man.
Ciao.